Now more on the war in Ukraine. President Biden is in Belgium today meeting with world leaders about how to help Ukraine.
CBS News senior White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe joins us live now from NATO headquarters in Brussels. Ed, what does the president hope to accomplish during this trip?
Well, Chris and Mary, good to see you. The president mostly wants face-to-face time with many of the world leaders he's been spending time with on the phone and over video conference in recent months as they prepared for and are now responding to this war in Ukraine. Today, they took a series of steps to signal yet again how united they are in this cause, sanctioning more than 400 Russian officials and more than 40 Russian defense companies, and bolstering the sanctions already announced by making sure that those that are being targeted can't evade the penalties. Also announcing plans here in the United States to accept at least 100,000 Ukrainian refugees beyond a refugee cap that had been set by the Biden administration, a signal they understand how big a humanitarian crisis is now underway as millions of Ukrainians have been displaced from their homes inside the country or have now scattered across Europe and the rest of the world. The United States, NATO, the G7, the European Union also announcing plans to spend billions of dollars in economic and food assistance across Europe and other parts of the world because Ukraine is such a significant exporter of things like wheat to the Middle East and North Africa, and countries in those parts of the world already signaling that if Ukraine can't export what it normally does, there's the potential for a big food crisis in other parts of the world.
And minutes ago, the Associated Press released a new poll that shows the president has a 43% approval rating, depending on what poll you look at the last couple of days. That's actually a higher number. Americans want him to be tougher on Russia, of course, but how is the crisis in Ukraine impacting the president's domestic numbers?
Well, in some ways it's helped because there was an understanding, certainly after his State of the Union address, where he spent a lot of time talking about this, that the United States was starting to take steps. There is this urgency that has shown up in polling and in comments from critics, even some Democrats, that perhaps more needs to be done. Today clearly signals what more is being done or is going to be done in the coming months to address not only the economic, non-military response that can occur, but also how the country can help deal with the fact that so many millions of Ukrainians now are no longer at home. But beyond that, given that there is no signal of military action expected unless, God forbid, this crisis spreads into a NATO country, be curious to see if that number improves at all, or if that do more that Americans are clamoring for is in fact military action, even though many of those same polls show that Americans would be opposed to military action. So that's one of the frustrations and the challenges that the Biden administration faces, and it's one of the reasons why he wanted to come here to Europe in person to demonstrate to the United States and to the world how seriously he's taking this and that this is something that isn't going to be over anytime soon.
Okay, Ed O'Keefe for us in Brussels. Ed, thank you.